Okay, so let's get into this. We received some source material from you, our listener. It's not the usual textbook, but actually information about a specific book.
Yeah, it's a description of a book called 100 Questions and Answers in Gastroenterology for Medical Students by Dr. Atef Ahmed.
Right. So our plan here isn't really to tackle gastroenterology itself. I mean, that's huge.
Way too big for one session. No, our deep dive is into this particular source, this description. What does it tell us about the book? What's it highlighting as the main selling points?
Exactly. What's the angle?
Yeah.
What does this description claim makes the book special? Based on how it's presented to us, what kind of learning aid or maybe knowledge shortcut is it supposed to be?
And thinking about you, the listener, perhaps wanting to, well, get informed efficiently, but also deeply,
Yeah.
what kind of aha moments does this source suggest the book aims to deliver? We're really zeroing in on the description itself here.
Okay. So right off the bat, the source makes a pretty strong claim for this book. It calls it an indispensable resource, not just for medical students, but for residents, even practitioners already in the field. Calling something indispensable, well, that's setting the bar quite high, isn't it?
It really is. And central to how it works, according to this source, is its structure. A
Yeah.
carefully curated collection of 100 essential questions and answers.
100. That number feels specific.
Very deliberate, I'd say.
Yeah.
In a field as complex and wide as gastroenterology, just saying 100 questions immediately suggests, well, a focus, like a specific pathway through all that information.
100 essential questions.
Yeah.
Yeah, that does sound like it's trying to offer maybe a manageable way in, or perhaps a focused review tool. The source does say it covers a wide spectrum of topics, starting with the basics, like anatomy and physiology.
Which is fundamental, really. You absolutely need that foundation to grasp anything in medicine, especially these complex systems, digestive tract, liver, pancreas, the biliary tree, how they work, or, don't work.
And the source says it gets into all of those areas using this 100 Q&A structure.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not just the basics, apparently. The description also mentions it delves into intricate clinical scenarios.
Ah, okay. That's key.
Yeah, that's where the practical application really comes into play for students, right?
Absolutely. And this is where the format itself, or at least how it's described, gets interesting. The source talks about in-depth exploration,
Okay.
claiming that each question comes with a detailed answer, providing a thorough explanation of the underlying concepts and clinical reasoning.
Ah, okay. So it's not just, here's the answer. It's supposed to break down why that's the answer. The thinking involved.
Precisely, that's the claim. And that seems to connect to another point the source makes, enhanced learning experience. It says the book is designed to stimulate critical thinking and enhance problem-solving skills.
Using Q&A for critical thinking. That's an interesting angle. It kind of makes you wonder how it pulls that off. Are the questions maybe like mini cases, forcing you to put pieces together?
That could be it. Or maybe the answer section doesn't just give the answer, but walks you through the diagnostic process step by step.
Right. The source definitely implies it's aiming for more than just rote memorization. It wants deeper understanding.
Which is always the goal in medicine, isn't it? Applying knowledge is everything. And, in a field that moves so fast.
Like this one.
The source also makes a point of emphasizing up-to-date information. It says it incorporates the latest research and clinical guidelines.
That's huge. If you're relying on a resource to get up to speed quickly, you have to trust the info is current.
Oh, absolutely. Medical guidelines from just, 3 or 4 years ago could be seriously outdated in some areas.
Yeah.
So that's a vital point for any medical resource, and the description clearly wants to reassure potential readers on that. It also mentions comprehensive coverage within its scope anyway.
How so?
Well, it lists it as being suitable for exam preparation, clinical rotations, or as a quick reference guide.
Okay, so suggesting it's versatile, you could use the same 100 Q&As for different things. Studying hard for exams, maybe looking something up quickly on the ward, or just general review.
Yeah, the Q&A format does lend itself to that kind of targeted use, finding specific bits of info quickly.
Makes sense.
And one last major point the source hits on is expert authorship.
Dr. Atef Ahmed.
Right. It highlights his years of clinical and teaching experience. This is basically the description saying, look, you can trust this information. It comes from someone who really knows their stuff, both in practice and in teaching.
Credibility. And, the language the description uses throughout, it's quite
Evocative.
Yeah, evocative is a good word. It goes beyond just listing features. It calls the book more than just a textbook
Right, I saw that. It talks about it being a journey into the heart of gastroenterology.
and an educational odyssey.
That framing is definitely interesting. It's trying to pitch the learning experience as, well, not just passively downloading facts.
More like an active exploration.
Exactly. A guided adventure, almost, led by the expert author. It's trying to make it feel dynamic, engaging, even though it's basically a structured Q&A format.
It uses phrases like embark on this educational odyssey to arm yourself with the knowledge and skills to excel. That's pretty strong stuff.
It is.
Yeah.
And the description even calls the book your key to unlocking the secrets of gastroenterology.
Okay, key to unlocking secrets. That really speaks to what someone might be looking for, right?
Yeah.
A way to access complex information quickly, information that might feel hidden or just overwhelming otherwise.
The source is definitely suggesting this book offers a kind of direct path.
So let's try to wrap this up, based purely on what this source description is telling us about the book.
Okay, so based only on this material, we have 100 questions and answers in gastroenterology for medical students is presented as, well, a really valuable resource, maybe even indispensable, as it claims.
And its core structure is that set of 100 curated questions and answers.
Right, and these Q&As supposedly cover the basics, the fundamentals, but also these intricate clinical scenarios across key organ systems, digestive tract, liver, pancreas, biliary tract.
And the claim is that the answers aren't just facts, but offer these deep explanations, really focusing on the clinical reasoning behind them.
Yeah, that's a big part of the pitch. It's also presented as being up-to-date, comprehensive enough for different uses like exams or quick reference.
And written by an experienced expert, which adds that layer of credibility.
Exactly. So the source positions it as a, let's say, targeted and efficient way to get a handle on this complex field.
Using that quite vivid language like key to unlocking secrets and educational odyssey.
So for you, the listener, perhaps looking for a way to learn quickly but still thoroughly, the source definitely suggests this structured Q&A approach provides a curated, direct route into the subject.
Which leaves us with maybe a final thought to ponder as you go about your own learning.
Yeah, something to think about. The source claims this book is a journey to help you excel in gastroenterology. But what does excel really mean in such a huge, constantly evolving field like this long term?
Right. And how might focusing specifically on 100 key questions, even if they are essential, how does that shape the ongoing process, the continuous learning, the application, developing that real mastery that goes beyond just knowing the answers to those 100 questions?